Hello, my name is Jamie Minaya, and today we will be discussing one of the smaller, yet nonetheless insightful, world religions known as Jainism. Beginning during the axial period around 500 BCE, the beginning of this beautiful tradition closely resembles that of other popular world religions, mainly Buddhism. Jains derive their name from 24 recognized jinas, or tirthankras, Jain saints who have broken the cycle of samsara and achieved moksha. The most notable of these saints is the final Tirthankara, Mahavira, the founder of Jainism and possibly the only Tirthankara to have actually existed. Today, there are about 5 to 7 million Jains spread throughout the world, where many are inspired by its message of compassion and harmony. In order to properly examine Jainism, we will be using Ninian Smart's 7 dimensions of religion. As opposed to analyzing it as simply an experience or a tradition, Jainism will be assessed as an organism with 7 characteristics. The sacred stories of the mythical dimension can concern either the historical or symbolic myths. The historical myths may have symbolism, but are also falsifiable and can be tested, whereas the symbolic myths cannot be tested by science. The ritual dimension studies the traditional activities which connect practitioners to the sacred. The dimension of experiences concern the sacred experiences brought upon either through ritual practices or other means. The doctrinal dimension refers to the belief systems of religions, often explaining the significance behind their myths. The ethical dimension encompasses a religious tradition's moral standards. The social dimension refers to the communal activities which enable the establishment of normative values and group bonding. And finally, the material dimension includes materials which connect individuals to the sacred. Throughout this study, I will be adopting a phenomenological approach to Jainism. That is, I will attempt to empathetically view this religion from the Jain's perspective. Through this approach, I will also be able to adequately study its social and historical impact. For the myths of Jainism, I decided to read the Kalpa Sutra, which focuses on the lives of the jinas or tirthankras. My main focus will be on Parshvanatha, affectionately known as the people's favorite, the 23rd jina who preceded Mahavira. Within his life, there are 5 important events: descending from heaven, entering his mother's womb or birth, adopting a life of houselessness, obtaining Kavala, the highest knowledge and intuition, and finally obtaining moksha. Like Mahavira, Parshvanatha's mother received vivid dreams prior to his birth, indicating his holy nature. He practiced the life of a householder until the age of 30, when he renounced his worldly possessions and became a monk. For 84 days he meditated beneath an Ashoka tree where he obtained the highest intuition, Kavala. During his Kavalship, Parshvanatha established a Jain community and is believed to have espoused similar teachings to Mahavira. However, the Svetambara sect believes that Mahavira expanded on his ideas, whereas the Digambaras believe there was no difference. Although Parshvanatha's exploits were documented in the sutras, his existence is questionable due to the lack of historical accounts. Likewise, as a character, he lacks individuality and depth, with many aspects of his own spiritual journey closely resembling Mahavira. Ritual activities are entwined in the daily practices of pious Jains in order to maintain levels of charity and nonviolence. Together, there are 6 essential rituals known as avashyaks. One prominent ritual which encompasses the duration of a monk's life is samaika, or equanimity, a contemplative state of meditation. For lay people, this is a 48-minute period of quiet recollection mixed with the repetition of routine prayers. During this time, individuals might also conduct pratikramana, or confession, where an individual repents for sins committed while asleep. Other rituals include the praise of the Tirthankras, Travisanto, obeisance to the Tirthankras' teachers and scriptures, Vandana, resolution to avoid sinful activities, Pratyakyan, and abandonment of the body known as Koyotsarga, standing or sitting in a meditative posture. For some individuals, this includes idol worship of the jinas, yet others prefer silent prayer and meditation. For this experiential dimension, we can discuss moksha, spiritual liberation attained through meditation, asceticism, and ahimsa. Moksha is noted to be a transcendent experience. Being the highest state of consciousness, it is a state of pure bliss. Through this, an individual becomes spiritually connected to that which is beyond the self, the holy other. Again, they can attempt to glean this experience from meditation and acting compassionately. and some even practice this throughout their entire lives. Just as we have discussed how the early life of Mahavira closely mirrored the life of the Buddha, their doctrine also resembles that of another Eastern religion, Hinduism. Like the Hindus, the goal of Jains is to break the spiritual cycle of rebirth known as samsara by stopping the accumulation of karma. In doing so, they achieve spiritual release or enlightenment known as moksha, and they can break samsara by adhering to 5 vows: ahimsa, non-violence; no stealing, otherwise known as an honest living; no lying, which includes slander and violent speech; no sexual misconduct; and no attachment to worldly things, also known as asceticism. Almost exclusive to the Jain tradition is the adoption of absolute non-violence, known as ahimsa. With the practice of ahimsa or non-violence, the Jains extended profound compassion beyond humans towards other animals and even microorganisms. This compassion impacts both the larger life goals of Jainists, as witnessed in their career choices, which avoid both direct and inadvertent violent practices, as well as their daily way of life. Similar to ahimsa, which is mainly focused on non-violence within the physical world, is anekantavada, or the doctrine of non-one-sidedness. In congruence with the compassion of ahimsa directed to all living creatures, anekantavada is the respect for different perspectives and religions. Through this worldview, all religions of the world are valid, and that despite their different ideologies, they all share a similar necessity for compassion. Simply put, anekantavada is a belief that each tradition is aligned with a different aspect of truth. Although it is not required, many Jains can collect at temples where they are led in prayer by a monk to express reverence for a specific Tirthankara. Additionally, Jains also have festivals which commemorate the prominent events such as the birth of Mahavira. Perhaps the most important of these festivals is Paryusana Parva. During this 8-day festival, individuals will fast and uphold austerities to shed karma and to control and prevent the accumulation of new karmas. On the final day, forgiveness is asked on behalf of the family and friends and enemies for any harm committed in the previous year. This widespread display of humility brings the community together through acts of absolution. With the ultimate goal of moksha or spiritual enlightenment, Jains do not place any value on material possessions. From this perspective, the only such object is the practitioner themselves, as they use their bodies as instruments of compassion towards other creatures in order to break the cycle of samsara. It should be noted, however, that the two prominent sects of Jainism do allow practitioners limited possessions. The white-clothed Shvetambaras do possess simple white linens in order to dress themselves, as well as masks to avoid inhaling small microorganisms, and small brooms known as pichis in order to gently sweep insects from their path. Conversely, the sky-clothed Digambaras only possess a pichi and a wooden water pot, known as a kamandalu. To say the least, I found my experiences with Jainism to be absolutely inspiring. I first learned about Jainism earlier this winter, and it was an eye-opening experience. Beginning with ahimsa, this has been rather difficult for me to practice in my daily life. As someone raised in a meat-eating household, I find it difficult to eradicate such a large part of my culture. However, although I have difficulty regulating my diet, I still practice ahimsa in other ways, mainly by measuring the intent behind my actions and my words especially. I find myself weighing the impact my words, thoughts, and actions have on others and try to take the most peaceful approach. With anekantavada, however, I have been inspired to find truth and compassion in all worldviews and perspectives. Especially with information which counters my own beliefs, I now dive headfirst in order to learn more about myself from their viewpoints. When I do this, I also tell myself anekantavada in a really tongue-in-cheek way before diving in. In fact, anekantavada is what inspired me to take this class, and I now find myself finding more beauty and understanding in the once foreign cultures throughout the world. Thank you, and I hope you guys enjoyed.